not a YouTuber, just like making videos. And this is a topic I kind of wanted to do for a while. Finally getting around to it. You know, I'm kind of ecstatic about this topic. You know, I'm talking about racist cartoons and my take on the racist cartoons. I dabble into the world of cartoons, and you know, when I see these old cartoons, and we can all say, "Oh, that's the past." You know what I'm saying? Let's forget about it and so forth. It's a piece of history, you know, American history, and I think it needs close examination, because when you figure the era, a lot of these cartoons was created, you know, and it wasn't deemed offensive then. Well, yeah, that's right, because it wasn't offensive to whites, you know, to be a black man. Black people fresh off the cotton fields, not having the same economic opportunity as whites, facing all kind of discrimination and injustice in America, and then to finally to drive another nail into the flesh. You had we were subjected to these negative imagery and stereotypes of these drawings and these characters of these coons and so forth. So I can only imagine what it'd be like as a black person then. And I can understand that when these cartoons is being showed at the local cinema and theater, because you know they used to show these little short cartoons before they show a movie or whatever. That's when black people were allowed to go inside the movies, before people had, you know, televisions all inside their homes. And I look at some of these cartoons, you know, thanks to YouTube, you can be exposed to a lot of this malarkey. And I look at the time it takes to draw and animate these characters or whatnot, and you put together an animated film, that's a hard work. You know, I actually created a short animated film myself my senior year in high school as my final project in my visual communications class. But that's a whole nother story. And I see the way, you know, you just see the way they draw black people, but then when I see the way they draw, and not the way, it's not just how they drew black people, it's the character that they gave those little black characters they drew, you know what I'm saying? They're always kind of shifty, lazy, slow, dim-witted, always causing or involved in a lot of mishaps. So each time they drew these characters, you know, they may draw an Aunt Jemima type black woman, chubby black female. The men will be lazy and just complete ignoramus. Now, and then I'll look at how they'll draw like a rabbit or a duck, you know, a talking rabbit, a talking mouse, you know, and they'll have different personalities. Like if you have like a mouse or whatever that's talking like a human being, he can be clever and very witty, or he can be honest, you know, smart and intelligent. But every time they draw a black person, it's the same old routine. So hence, you know, that they drew a rabbit or a fox or whatever with more integrity than when they draw a black person. So we were almost like less than an animal in their eyes. Now, when I was growing up as a kid, a lot of the cartoons. When I was a kid growing up, a lot of those cartoons were already banned, you know, and was considered in bad taste. But still, when I'm watching old Tom and Jerry cartoon, there's times when you know, Tom would have that bomb or whatever, his face would get blown up, and they'll still, you know, as a kid I witnessed, they'll still make him, you know, look like a black person, you know, sometimes looking like a picking in his hair, got the ribbons in it or whatever. Or we see Tom and Jerry's housekeeper or whatever, the black Aunt Jemima female with the big glove-like hands. and eventually they done away with this. But here's an interesting story. In the 90s, when I was in high school, I remember my mother bought my little sister cartoons on VHS. Before DVDs started popping, and before the Cartoon Network. She just bought, it was a VHS tape full of cartoons. On the cover of it, it showed Popeye and Bugs Bunny, just cartoon characters. You think it's just innocent cartoons, but a lot of the cartoons on that VHS tape had, that racial imagery, saying drawing black people with the big lips or whatever. That's the first time I saw that cartoon with the black, they considered the black Elmer Fudd when Bugs Bunny, how they used the old school Bugs Bunny, was having a little mishap with that black guy, the black Elmer Fudd. A lot of people have already seen that cartoon, and I'm like, what the hell? And then there was like some other racist cartoons on that VHS tape. There was one with this little Sambo character, but he was being animated through stop motion and like using clay and stop motion, this little Sambo type character. And I'm like, shit. It was like these cartoons were already deemed unacceptable for, TV, Saturday morning cartoons or whatnot, but they were still putting them out on VHS. I'm like, why is that? Why would they do that? If they knew that this imagery is offensive to black people, why would they still release it on VHS? I can understand they got away with it. There wasn't no laws or anything or censorship on VHS, but still, I'm like, damn, this was like 92, 93. I remember I took that VHS tape and I just ripped it up because I didn't want my little sister to see this image, and think that that's her, and because as I said before, a lot of what we saw, a lot of what white people projected on us, or their projection of us, did damage to us. Now, I want to go into this one guy. His name is R.Crumb, Robert Crumb. He's a cartoonist. He's a pretty good cartoonist, you know what I mean? But a lot of his cartoons, have he draws black characters old school. I don't know now, but he's a cartoonist who made predominance in the 70s. He was a real underground cartoonist. And a lot of his shit is extremely racial. I'm like, he has a character named Angel Food McSpade. I'll put the picture up. And he's celebrated. People have said he's the best cartoonist, comic artist, in history or whatnot. But there's no denying his, racial imagery of black people, how he draws a monkey like there's nothing as unique as people say R.Crumb is. There's nothing unique about how he draws black people. It's the same old rigmarole and so forth. Now, I don't know if he still draws comics. I don't know if he still draws them today, but draws black people like that. But in 1994 he released a comic called When Niggers Take Over America, something like that, and it's extremely racial. And then R.Crumb himself said that this was satire, that they were he's kind of like poking fun at America racism. He's not a racist, but this is, I don't know, why does a lot of white people, they draw us looking certain, they do things, and they say, well, this is not racist, this is not. I'm like, especially when you have a predominantly white audience, white people reading your shit, and so that's what got me flummoxed, when niggers take, and a lot of R.Crumb's drawings and shit, the white racist on tightrope.com reposted or posted on their website. Hence, When Niggers Take Over America, that comic, I first saw that on a white racist website and so forth. And I'm like, so that's a little bit of information for you. Now, I'm going to end this off by talking about Coonskin, a 1975 film, maybe 1976. But this was a film done by and created by a guy named Ralph Balsky. I think I'm saying his name right. This film was extremely racist, and this guy Ralph Balsky also drew Dr. Seuss cartoons. He did one about the big butter book, the butter battle book. Which I kind of like that Dr. Seuss story. He animated that, but he came out in 1975. He came out with a film called Coonskin, which kind of like pairs live action video with animated characters, kind of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or some shit like that. But this was just, it looked very low budget and bootleg, but it was the 70s, and it was a highly offensive film. See, that's the thing. I'm like, white people get Peter Pan, we get Coonskin, and as I said before, and they wonder why black people are all fucked up. Here, I'm gonna show you a clip and see if this is racist.
It was really nice to meet you. You really look terrific, doesn't she? And not only do you look terrific, but you dance terrifically. I mean, Herbert thinks you dance terrifically, but...
Yes, you dance terrifically.
He's too embarrassed. Well, the funny thing is that we've always talked about having black people.
Yes, it's very nice to have.
But I mean, now that you're really here and everything, it's just incredible, isn't it? I mean, tell her.
Yes, it's incredible.
It's so great, and the things you're wearing and everything and all the colors. I mean, we always have to wear the same old things with our parents and everything like that.
Same old thing.
And we always complain about how we'd like to be different, but you guys really do it, I mean, don't they?
No, they've done it. You've done it. Yes, it's different.
I mean,
look at that.
Well, it's.
Look at that pearl.
Well.
Look at that pearl. I ain't never
excuse me.
seen her so happy.
That's right.
Yeah, And the killer part, he got Barry White, Scatman Carruthers on board to do this film, and some other people. I can't remember their names. And I'm like, how in the fuck would these guys agree to do Coonskin? Now, Coonskin was, even in 1975, was considered so offensive. They later changed its name to Bustin' Out and then Street Fight. But it wasn't released in theater. It wasn't released in theater. Well, they were trying to release it in theaters, but it just got so much backlash. Supposedly, the Black Panthers was throwing smoke bombs inside the theater, and a young Al Sharpton was even protesting the premiere of Coonskin. And this guy, Ralph Balsky, who's drawn black people looking like monkeys, deformed, subhuman, is saying this is not racism. This is black people sticking it to the men and all this other stuff. I got Coonskin, and I watched it from a historical standpoint, and just to get that knowledge, the same way I have some of R.Crumb's comics. But yeah, Ralph Balsky should recognize that black people will be offended by Coonskin because of what we were going through. But it's almost like white people are just, a lot of times, are oblivious to what offends us. They think that, this is not offensive, and so forth. But you can actually see Coonskin on YouTube, see the whole entire movie. I know that I think Paramount was trying to release it, but they withdrew, and another company tried to release it on theaters, but it just it was too controversial at that time. And still, there are some black people vouching for Coonskin. My thoughts are reserved on the movie, but check out some of the shit that I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? We all know about those racial imagery of us, but I just want to give it a deeper and closer look on why was they drawing us like that. And here's a funny story I'm gonna leave off with. I remember watching one of these foolish cartoons with a female friend, and I asked this female, how do you feel about this? How do you feel about this imagery? And she said to me, it doesn't bother me because I know I don't look like that. That was a good answer. So, all right.